Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Shamans Cave. And Renee and I have been having a fascinating conversation. And one of the things that we've been talking about is, sorry, Renee, I actually forgot what we just said.
Well, it was so good she forgot it. But I'm Renee at Baribeau, and we were talking about how people need a safe place to come and sit. And, because a lot of our conversations lately have been really impromptu and not really, we plan them out, but not as planned within an inch of their lives kind of conversations, but they kind of are growing organically from us talking about life. And so we were talking about how all of the emails we've been getting lately and all of the likes on YouTube and, all the subscribed on YouTubes. And that there's this, what we think is what we've created is a little safe place where you can come and sit with, two wise elders who are navigating this experience the same as you, but we're doing it with laughter and humility and grace. And I don't know, I swear every once in a while. I'm not sure about you, Sandra, but I'm like a plumber underneath the sink. Plumbers underneath the sink are always swearing. So I rarely swear anymore, but I do sometimes when I'm doing plumbing.
I think one of the points that Renee is trying to make right now is one of the things that we've been sharing with you is in challenging times, one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, a friend, a loved one, and the world is holding the space. And so in order to hold the space, of course, you're going through your own stuff when you're holding the space, but you also have to find a place of anchor, a place where you can anchor because you're holding the space for a family, a community, loved ones, and they start to rely on you. It's like on airplanes. I don't fly well, and so I've read every book on fear of flying. I've taken every course on fear of flying because I was on the road 300 days a year for over 10 years. And in one of the books that I read and one of the courses that I read, they talk about how people on the airplanes are always staring into the stewardess's eyes to make sure that there's no panic, to see that their eyes are smiling so that they can sit back in their chair and feel safe. And there is something about that in the human condition when you're around others who we're going through the same challenges, but we found spiritual practices that keep us in a place of equanimity, and then we can talk about it. And so we love creating a warm, safe place for you, and hopefully we laugh at some of our jokes, and
we think we're funny.
We think we're funny, and we like each other. So, but we this all kind of started because just yesterday, one of our subscribers wrote in a brilliant topic. It's a perfect topic for right now. She lives in the city, and I posted on the Shamans Cave that I'm feeling this unbelievable, it's like a magnetic force pulling me deep within myself into just being silent all the time. I don't put on music. I don't put on podcasts. I literally, every minute that I'm not working, I'm just sitting in silence and staring. So I wrote about that because it's been incredibly regenerating for me, especially the places it's taking me, the the psychic realms I'm traveling within, my body is talking to me so much. It's like an old friend who we haven't had a talk with in years, and we can't stop talking to each other. But I don't have a distraction from the outside, so I can finally hear what my body's been trying to say to me, the whole time that I haven't been feeling well. But, and I'll give this over to Renee too, but some of you live in the city, and yes, you can find stillness, and I have many ways for you to do that. But I want to give Renee space to talk to all of us and to our subscriber who sent in this wonderful topic.
It is a great topic. And for me, silence is an inside job. And it all depends on my spiritual conditioning, because I can remember years where I thought for sure this is what autism must feel like, that every sound was bouncing off of my energetic field and it was heightened and I was hyper vigilant. And right before, when Sandra said we were going to talk about silence, I just checked in and I'm thinking, wow, feeling really silent here today. And if you knew what was going on in my life, I'm moving in 17 days. I have, 2 renters moving in. I have, I had a dream this week about losing the cat at the airport. I think that's my fear of taking the cat on the airplane, because she howls when she's unhappy. Like, those people on the airplane with their screaming kids. I'm going to have the scream, knock on wood, I'm not going to have a screaming cat on the airplane. But that there's this so for me, when I feel into the silence, it's an expanded sense of my own inner peace. And then I don't notice the cars going by. And a lot of times for me, the winds will have me, they'll say, go outside and do a Facebook Live, and I'll be there, but it's noisy now. And I said, yeah, well, most people live in the noise, Renee. So we have to learn to be able to find that silence no matter what car is driving by or what your neighbor's kids are doing. And so it's a really good test of my spiritual conditioning when I can feel silent in the midst of chaos.
Yeah, I think, what Renee is saying is the core. And I think that we've all found ways to work with that core teaching, that core knowledge of that. To find the silence, you have to go within. You have to go within, because there is no silence in the world. I live in the country, but it's noisy here. And, I have the same cars and I hear the same traffic. And I've realized some of my really tough initiations, the things that I go to God, why did you do this to me? Now I can see in the time of the COVID and what we're going through, some of the spiritual training that I got. So, for example, you've all heard me talk about years, most of my adult life, of being suicidally depressed. And that has thankfully, magically, through my shamanic work, my spirits helped me work that through, which is why I'm so grateful to the practice of shamanism. But what I realized, it was just a few months ago, is that when I got depressed, I did go to the deepest place inside of me to feel comfort and to feel safe. And I would take breaks from life. My boss knew about my issue, and he would let me take 10 days work off at a time, and I would stay in bed for 24 hours with the covers over my head. But I'd be within myself, and so I learned how to travel within during those times. And then now I don't use it as an escape, but it's a natural skill I have to drop in and just to feel the world is out there and I'm here and everything's good, And then you've heard me talk about, I came down with this disorder 5 years ago, and I have absolutely no control in my life. I've lost a lot. I've really lost quite a bit. But I've also learned that it's helped me. It taught me how to walk through any darkness that exists. And it taught me that when you're absolutely exhausted, because part of the disorder I have is where I can never rest. So I never get a chance to rest. So I've had to find ways to rest. And so you can go out and buy a rose and bring it home and walk up to the rose and smell it. And what I found is your whole system will get silent and will rest when it looks at something of beauty, or if it likes the smell. It's actually a way for your system to rest and to go inside. But you got to make sure this doesn't work if you keep the news on and you keep going to social media. And that's the mistake a lot of people are making, is we're going in, and then we come out, and then we run in, and then we go out. But if you stay in, you don't need to know what's out there, because your spirit knows what's out there and you're safe.
Absolutely. I remember when I owned a restaurant, I would do the 3 days in the darkened room with the shades pulled, and now it's like, God, I don't want to say that. It's like I enjoy, like I get a half a day now, like to watch binge watch Netflix or something. But this morning I was talking to someone, this reminds me of that. I was talking to somebody about, they said, well, I'm not breathing really well, and I'm not sleeping really well. And I'm there like, well, I know you've bought some wind whistles lately. Have you used them? This to me is like a tool for self-soothing. Like when I go outside, if I need to get back into myself, I will go outside, stand there, and I will blow 3 times into the wind whistle, and it brings me back to center. Because I think the noise comes when we're off center. And so, and for me, it's the wind whistle. Sandra, you have your techniques, and we all need to find that technique that works for us. I know I spend 10 hours a day on the computer because of the work I do, and because, this is our life right now. And if I don't go take that wind walk, if I don't go visit that tree that Sandra, instilled in my mind about a year and a half ago, or the other tree I added to this collection of trees, I lose my bearings. And it's just so simple that having a wind walk or blowing a wind whistle or jumping up and down 10 times in the same place, whatever it is, because that's what I used to do too when I'd get out of my body. People who have been traumatized in their body, they tend to like to fly out. It's just a lot safer when you're not in your body, so it seems. But if you are one of those people who like to travel out and have all of these etheric kinds of experiences, jump up and down 10 times, get you back in your body. From there, you can see where the noise, the stereo noise needs to be, changed. Because if you're in a good spiritual conditioning, the fact that the gardener's out there blowing every week doesn't bother me. But when I'm in not, I'll be like, why does he have to start every time we're recording the Shaman's Cave?
I know, we were supposed to have somebody come and do some work today, and I said, oh, Woods, it's not a big deal. Renee will have her gardeners there too.
Always. It's like clockwork. Okay. It's like my friend used to take her cat in the car, and as soon as they start up the car, the cat would get in the litter box and pee, and so it would be like, we just have our things. It's just,
right.
You just have to love your things.
That's right. You do. We have a flicker. I don't know how many of you know the bird flicker. They're gorgeous birds, gorgeous birds. People collect their feathers for earrings and jewelry. And in some native traditions, they're seen as good luck when you have them at your house. Our flickers have not been good luck for us over the years, but we, every once in a while, just like people go crazy, birds go crazy. So we have a flicker that's lost its mind, and it's doing a pneumatic drill all day long from 5 o'clock in the morning until it goes to sleep at night into our house, trying to build a house. And so we built a flicker house for it. We gave it a flicker house, and we're doing everything.
It doesn't like its new flicker home?
It goes in it checks it out. It's not drilled and it comes back, but it's literally destroying our house. So,
no.
But I just kind of brought that in because we could have had the pneumatic drill going throughout.
That's right. That's very true. We have these new birds out here that are at night. They're like these, they light up when it gets dark, and they make this, they get all going. I'm like, what are these birds? I've never seen birds who get started when it gets dark like this.
Yeah, I wonder, we have pine siskins that they come in thousands, and it's unbelievable. I wonder if they went over to California because we got a cold snap early.
I know, maybe they're all over here, but I've never heard, the thing is if you're out there in nature, you become more aware of the other real sounds that aren't the ones that are yattering in your ear, because most of those sounds really we could do without, I find, most of the time. Although I will say on Thanksgiving, I was given this all day long, bring food. And so, I texted someone, they said, oh, no, okay. And it was like, I'm serving dinner. It was like, bring food. So like I got up right after the meal and went over and brought someone food. And it was like, sometimes the voices will talk at you until you respond. And in that particular case, I think that it really made the difference in somebody's life. Just a little simple act of bringing food.
Yeah, and what Renee is saying, this is kind of the point of our what we're sharing is Renee got a message to bring food because she was able to get into the silence. My body, actually, something miraculous happened to me a little over a week ago. Was I performed my own soul retrieval since I've had this disorder, and I haven't been able to get my own soul back. And I've seen people, but it just wasn't time. There's a special thing about timing. So I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night. And all I'm going to say is this was like, I never gave birth, but this was one of the most difficult. If it was a child coming out of me, it was true labor. It was not easy because doing your own soul retrieval, trying to get that in yourself it's not a simple process. But I woke up the next morning and I felt completely different. And I couldn't believe how beautiful everything looked. And ever since then, because I have had health problems, my body won't stop talking to me. It's telling me everything that I haven't heard in 5 years. And so the point that we're trying to make is there are parks and cities. I grew up in Brooklyn. I was able to find silence. I always needed a lot of silence. I found silence inside, again, because there are going to be people there. I worked on Wall Street in high school and rode the trains. I was able to drop in while I was in a packed train, and that was how I found my silence and survived those rides and had centered trips to go to work. We have these concepts in our head that we have to move into a monastery where we're put in a cell and there's no noise or anything in order to find that place inside of ourselves, but we don't. It's more taking the time. And then what happens, like what Renee was talking about, those psychic voices that you hear, somebody needs you. You can change a day for somebody. Renee probably wouldn't have heard that if she wasn't in a silent place, if her head was only thinking about putting Sammy on the plane and my body wouldn't be talking to me if I didn't go back into a silent place again. And I'm getting so much information about new things for my work and where I need to start putting my energy. And it's all coming because I said goodbye to the outside world. It's been very difficult. I've said goodbye to my friends. I put an email message. I've asked for nobody to email me. That includes my friends. This is a time on the planet where everybody has to find what works for you. We're trying to fit into other people's boxes of how to calm down, how to breathe, how to sing, how to do shamanic journeying, all the things people are barking at us and I'm barking at people. We have to find that place inside of ourselves. And that's the only way we're all going to find peace, because Renee and I, we can hold space and we can make you laugh for a few minutes, but we can't save you from yourself, from your own process right now. That we don't have the ability to do, but we're happy to be on the Shamans Cave, and I think about everybody in all my circles, and I pray for them every day. That's easy work for us to do, but there's work that we can't do for you.
And it just occurred to me that one of my suggestions for this work that you could do is that the I Am Fire Tenders gathering begins, and it's about holding the light for, I forget how many days, but actually being intentional, whether it's a battery operated light or a lit candle, or if you have a fire, but to actually intentionally hold the fire for yourself for 10, 12 days. You're not doing it for the world. We all want to think, we're going to go out and save the world. Well, truthfully, if you start saving yourself, you're going to show up a whole lot more present for the world anyway. But think about maybe joining us from the solstice to January 2nd and really tending to your inner flame, your inner altar, and see what that does to change you.
Yeah.
I just thought of that.
Well, it's a beautiful thought, Renee, because what people are lacking is discipline. And we all know this. I'm very spiritually disciplined. I can't even imagine doing spiritual work and not light a candle. I mean, I can't even imagine. And when I lived in houses where I felt safer, because I live in high fire danger, I had candles burning 24/7. I just can't do that anymore, but I always light a candle at a sacred event. But what happens to us, everything, whether it's lighting a candle or changing your diet or starting an exercise program, everything takes discipline, everything. And it sounds so easy. Light a candle and hold the space for the winter solstice. And it's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
If you start with day one, and then you learn the discipline, the discipline becomes, you start getting into a new rhythm and you start creating a new habit. So after the fire tending is over, you know how to create sacred space no matter where you live. And I know that wasn't the topic, but
No,
it
I
goes
just
into you can create sacred space anywhere once you learn how to hold that kind of space and be that kind of space as you walk through the world. What we're getting to on everything is you have to be the work. You have to live the work. It's not about doing the work. It's about being it and living it. And that's how things change. And so Renee's giving a beautiful way to step into a discipline where the end of the road of that time will be to step into a new way to work on a daily basis because you've already been doing it for 10 days.
That's awesome. Maybe that would be a great topic to how to be your work, be your work instead of, do your work. I like that. Can we cover that sometime?
Absolutely.
Great. Well, that's probably enough on silence, and we've talked enough. Now you go experience some silence. Why don't you do that? Go breathe in some silence and then let us know either on our Facebook group or in the YouTube or in the email, what experience came up when you really got deeply into the silence. Did you hear your spirit speak, or what happened for you in that silence? And could you feel the energetic shift? So let's have a conversation about how you step into silence.
Yeah, and if you have a journey practice or a meditation practice, ask that question. How do I travel within? Because we're used to looking without, hearing without. So this is like a shock to the body. What do you mean? No eyes, no ears, no mouth, just go within. Finding a practice that you can do, doing a journey or meditation or taking a divination walk or blowing your wind whistle or just doing some drumming and see what comes. It's just about it's about finding a different route. It's like being out in a park and there's just a path you've never taken, but it's a gorgeous path. And try it and see what happens.
Well, I'm going to. So, and then I will report back, and hopefully all of you will too. And follow us over at shamanstv.com and subscribe. And the best gift you can give to yourself this winter is to share our show. I have another friend teacher who talks about, in some tribes, if they only have one banana left, they split it and share it. And our culture, we eat the whole banana. So split the banana and share it this week and share our show out. So thank you.
Blessings, everyone.